10. Headlights on return. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Today, the Biden administration faces two major fights over immigration policy. We break down what they mean for asylum seekers ahead of the rally this morning at the Supreme Court.
D.C. police are expanding partnerships with other law enforcement agencies to crack down on violent crime. How officials say residents can help keep their own neighborhoods safe.
And police officers in Montgomery County schools. What to expect at a meeting today, explaining exactly what their role will be in the classroom.
News4 Today
Camp 2
starts now.
Go.
Good morning. Welcome to News4 Today. It's just about 6:30. I'm Julie Lavange.
You're next.
I'm on Yang. Don't forget your umbrella if you're heading out the door this morning. They see some
Mike's
rain
opening.
later today. Melissa Millay will have a check on your commute in just a moment in your first four traffic. But let's begin with Storm Team 4. Meteorologist Amelia Draper is watching the timing of all this rain. Good morning to you, Amelia.
Good morning, I'm Julie, and good morning to you. So rounding
Mike's
the
down.
roads, you step out the door this morning, 58 degrees right now. I'm tracking fog,
You're
mist,
next.
and drizzle, and you can barely see our city cam here. The
Traffic next, then
mist
you.
and drizzle is so thick out there right now.
You guys go to Jumbo
right
when
now,
she's
in
done.
the mid-morning hours, we are going to see
Oh.
the drizzle and mist taper off with a temperature between about 7 and 9 a.m. of about 60 degrees, mid-60s as we head toward the mid to late
15,
morning
15, 1.
hours.
Thank you.
Again, as the mist and drizzle comes to an end, some sunshine
10.
likely developing around the midday.
Tower
hours.
cam.
But then I'm tracking rain and maybe
We
even
paid top
some
dollar for that
thunderstorms
feature.
out there for the afternoon and evening hours because of that weather having a moderate
Rep.
impact on your
Melissa,
Tuesday.
Mike's
And
opening.
we'll be timing out the rain when it moves into your neighborhood and when it leaves, coming up with future weather in about 15 minutes. But for now, Melissa, how are the roads?
We have some slow spots for sure here this morning.
Mike's down.
Near GW Parkway, be careful on the right side. We have a
30.
truck, also some delays
You're next.
southbound near 85 on 270. Spring Hill,
nope.
northbound
Nope,
95
two shot,
after
two shot.
Fairfax County Parkway. The left side is blocked by a crash. We're seeing some pretty significant delays as well northbound there on 95 because of that. And in Upper Marlboro, Ritchie Marlboro Road near Brown Road, and we have an accident as well. Travel times coming
10.
up.
Oh.
Right. Melissa, thank you. 6:31.
Camera.
And today, people are expected to rally in
You
front
start to
of
push.
the
Thank
Supreme
you.
Court.
Here we come.
According to arguments on challenges to the Trump administration's so-called Remain in Mexico policy.
Camera.
News4's Juliana Valencia joins us live outside of the Supreme Court this morning with details. Juliana, good morning.
Mike's down.
Good morning, Jimmy. Dozens of organizations are expected to rally in front of the
Yeah, that
Supreme
was
Court
a-
steps starting at 8 this morning. And today, the oral arguments of the Biden versus Texas case could decide the fate of the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy. And the Biden administration
Theo.
has been trying
Thank you.
to end this controversial policy, forcing asylum seekers to wait in Mexico until
I'm gonna
their
ask them
U.S.
for a bump
court
shot
dates.
after this.
A federal appeals court struck down the
Since they're right
administration's attempts to terminate the Trump-era policy
And the
3
lighting looks
times
great.
already. The Trump administration sent more than 70,000
You can
asylum
have it.
seekers to
That's fine.
Mexico under what
Thank
they
you.
called the migrant protection protocols. Now, before that,
You know me, I'm
people
all
who
about bump
crossed the
shots.
border were generally allowed to remain in the U.S. while they applied for asylum. Now, the big picture here is the Justice Department.
Camera.
says a
Mike's
ruling
opening.
in this case could set a precedent
3 next.
limiting the powers of future presidents to be able to reverse the policies of their predecessors. Back to you.
All right, Juliana Valencia outside the Supreme Court. Thank you so much.
3.
Meanwhile, in a separate
Clear.
case, the federal judge plans to temporarily block another policy change. The Biden administration wants to end another Trump-era policy at the border. It's called Title 42. The emergency public health policy allows for the quick removal of people who cross the border into the U.S. illegally. The Trump administration created the rule under a coronavirus public health emergency.
Sound.
Title 42 is not consistent with our values, and it doesn't keep us safer.
10.
Title 42 being lifted means 500,000 over the next 5 weeks.
5.
My state of Texas, we just simply can't absorb this.
Go.
The Biden administration plans to lift Title 42 on May 23rd. The public health rule has prevented more than 1.7 million attempts to cross the U.S. border since it began back in March of 2020.
1.
Johnny Depp's defamation trial
Love
against
it.
his ex-wife actress Amber Heard continues this morning. This time,
What's the worst that can happen?
On the stand. After 4 days of testimony, Depp made a final push to persuade a jury that his career fell apart after his ex-wife made allegations
Okay.
he was physically abusive.
Sound. Sound.
Suddenly I was guilty until proven innocent.
Go.
Depp and his attorneys claim it was
Yeah.
Depp who was the victim of abuse. They say
Mr.
he
Nate, do you know
lost
the
big
photog
deals
that's with
because of an
Juliana?
op-ed Heard wrote in the Washington Post. During cross-examination, Heard's attorneys claimed
Okay.
Depp was losing his deal with Disney before the op-ed.
Sound.
When did you first learn that Disney was not going to
Copy,
recast
copy.
you in the Pirates franchise?
5.
Probably 2 or 3 days after this op-ed appeared.
Go.
Johnny Depp maintains
Animation, 3
he's
names.
never assaulted Amber Heard despite conceding in a failed marriage filled with drug-fueled violence. Heard is expected to take the stand in the next few weeks.
As Russia's war on Ukraine enters a critical
Camera.
phase, the U.S. is hosting defense talks with top NATO officials. Right now, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is in Germany. That's where the U.S. is hosting dozens of countries for discussions focused on arming Ukraine against Russian forces.
Sound. Ah.
Your citizens have been executed. Your children
10.
have been traumatized. But Ukraine is doing a magnificent job
5.
defending its sovereignty against Russia's unprovoked invasion.
Go.
Today's meeting
1
comes
next.
on the heels of Secretary Austin's visit to Kyiv with Secretary of State Antony Blinken, where they promised new military aid, including ammunition. The U.S. has now pledged more than $3.7 billion to Ukraine since the war started.
1.
It's 6:35 now. This morning we are learning more about the young man who was shot and killed last week at the Peruvian ambassador's residence in Northwest D.C. Police say 19-year-old Gordon Casey entered the grounds of the mansion in the Forest Hills neighborhood and started smashing windows. They say he was holding a sharp-edged metal pole and making jabbing motions towards Secret Service officers when those
Gabby.
officers shot him.
Thank you.
Casey's girlfriend told News 4 he had lost his job and was having a mental health crisis.
Sound.
Where did you see him?
In the middle, kind of out of the middle.
What was he doing?
Just walking
10.
back and forth. He was really paranoid. He was really quiet, really,
5.
really sweet. Like I said before, he wouldn't hurt a fly whatsoever.
Go.
DC police are investigating the shooting.
3.
All the shootings, robberies, homicides, carjackings, it can all feel unending. But DC police say they are seeing progress. Recently, the department cracked several high-profile homicides by partnering with federal law enforcement agencies. Monday, DC police announced expanded partnerships with the ATF, the DEA, and U.S. Marshals to focus on other violent crimes. Police Chief Robert Conti also implored D.C. residents to become involved in fighting crime. He said tips from neighbors are critical to tracking down people who terrorize local communities.
New this morning, Montgomery County Public Schools prosecutors and
Cheese
law
next.
enforcement agencies will present an agreement outlining the relationship between schools and police officers. The group will brief the Montgomery County Council on a new memorandum of understanding this afternoon. The agreement was drawn up after a debate over how police operated within the county schools in the past. It will allow so-called community enforcement officers to participate in school events and review security.
I thought they were
footage.
too.
But those officers will not be stationed inside every school building.
Turn 2.
It is now 6:37. Coming up on News 4 today, 2 car makers are releasing new electric versions of their most popular models. We explain which ones and when they'll be available.
Plus, a troubling new study shows a significant increase in the number of kids handling and dying from guns. What to look out for to keep your children safe. Stay with us. We'll be right back.